Oh, yeah. Picking winners. JBC, Statsational, myself, Holden, for the best betting show you're ever going to see. And here we are in week 4. I got my ass kicked last night, by the way, guys. It was a woo.
Baby.
Stats is like, man, the overs just start hitting. When you turn the ball over 2 times in your own zone, that's not going to help the total. The Packers couldn't stop the Lions last night. It was an absolute debacle. So ultimately hit the live under at 54.5. Did not save me from losing a unit and a half last night. That being said, let's get back on the horn today and go pick up some winners.
Some of us won.
Huh?
Some of us won.
I don't want to hear about that.
JBC told you Lions.
Oh, you took the Lions side -2.
That was easy money.
Oh, man. Not for me. I just don't want to listen to anybody. I just want to keep doing stupid shit like I did last night. So we'll see if we can bounce back. If I can bounce back. You guys did well last night. That's good to hear. We have the main slate on DK. We'll just talk about that from a betting side. And then here are 5 games in college football this week. 8th ranked USC at Colorado. Yes, sir.
6 games.
Oh, yeah.
Utah plays Oregon State tonight.
1, 2. Oh, you want to talk about the Oregon State game? Okay, yeah, cool.
It's a ranked versus ranked.
All right. Hey, listen, I'm only good as the information that's given to me. I didn't know we wanted to talk about that tonight, but we're going to do that. So we'll talk about tonight's game. USC, Colorado, Georgia, Auburn, a game that I've actually been to in the past. Yep. Kansas at Texas and Austin. Let's go Jayhawks, LSU, Ole Miss, and then Notre Dame and Duke. Stats, how'd you do last night? You tailed your boy -2. What else did you have?
That was it. No, I had that one prop that did not hit because they could do nothing. I had the Aaron Jones 2.5 over on receptions, and that was never even close. Got 1 in the second half. Just that was a brutal display by the Green Bay offense. So.
Well, did you see what happened after the game? LaFleur just went off. He's just like, listen, we got our asses kicked tonight. And he's yelling at media members, but they look like garbage. No question. They laid an egg. And I wonder if we're going to see more problems here from the Packers going forward, because they had that nice comeback against the Falcons. Love isn't a guy you really trust coming from behind as much. So, yeah, JBC.
The week before, he came back from 17 in the fourth quarter.
Well, that's what happens when you play prevent defense. Nice buzz cut, Mark.
Thanks, Reese.
Did you get a haircut too again, Stats?
No, not yet. Not yet. Yeah, I'm overdue, but yeah, no, I haven't. I've just been too busy, but I got to get on the schedule. I got to make an appointment.
Do you use Grecian formula or some other type of hair product?
No, I just use like a hair cream,
Little cream.
Yeah.
What's that? Cream.
What's the name of it?
What do I use?
Guido Special?
No. Axe. It's like they make the different ones. Light hold.
You're so
that's the cheap shit.
Dude, what are you, 14?
You got to use. I've tried every different hair product. Crew is good, and then you got to go with what works. So this one works.
I've tried every different hair product.
I've got every hair product.
Sensational. I've tried every different hair.
I have. Listen, it's the one good thing I got going for me is a full head of hair. Holden's got a nice head of hair too. So you got to treat it right, man.
Yeah, you should. You know what, JBC? Like in 10 years, you'll still have your hair. You won't want to shave it. It's the one thing we got working for us in our 40s and almost 50s. When you got hair, it's a big one.
I'm married. I don't give a shit about my appearance.
Well,
you can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, we kid because we care. Let's get into the slate, boys. Come on. We got a lot to discuss. We're going to start with the NFL as we always do. Tampa Bay, New Orleans. We just got some news here. Derek Carr was actually throwing in practice, so he is not officially ruled out yet. It would be a Jameis Winston revenge game. Bucks plus 3.5, totals 40, down in New Orleans. Talk to me here, JBC. Anything on the side and the total in this divisional game?
I like New Orleans. I think the Bucks are a little overrated based on their first 2 games. Last week they looked like shit against the Eagles, but people, I think, in their head, they're just like, oh, it's the Eagles. Everybody looks bad against the Eagles. But, New Orleans coming off that catastrophic fourth quarter, I think they're a little undervalued here, especially if you can get the 3. I see a couple 3 -120s. Draftkings is 118. I would lay the points with the Saints.
What are you thinking here? Stats, you on the Saints too?
Yeah, I mean, I would lean a little bit. I'm leaning towards Tampa. If I could get the 3.5, FanDuel's got it at 3.5. I don't love the game one way or the other. I like the under a little bit more, actually. I like the under in this game more than the side. So if I had to take a side and I could get 3.5, I'll take it. But yeah, I don't like either one of these offenses. I mean, I actually, from a fantasy standpoint, I think New Orleans is fine with. They'll probably actually put up better yardage numbers with Jameis, but you know what Jameis does, and that's he throws the big pick in the big spot inside the red zone. So I think that's what you could expect to see. And if he does that, I think the game stays under.
All right. Very good. That's right, Richie Smalls. Favorite show of the week. This is what, our 4th edition. We're in week 4 already, guys. This thing just goes too slow. Give me some love for my hair. Yeah, I got love for my hair. And then YouTube user. Crew better than Axe.
Go ahead, John.
No, he's not wrong. I like Crew too, and it smells really nice. So, but I try to mix it up and try, you never know what's the best one. Lately, I've been using the Axe stuff, but Crew is longtime favorite of mine too.
Yeah, 100% Richie Smalls. Absolutely love it. And yes, Kamara is back, Eric A.
Shout out Norcross High School, Kamara.
Yeah. Well, I would say this. From what I read, he's going to do more third down and maybe some red zone work than anything. I would not expect a big workload. What's that?
Until they can't move the ball, and then he'll be out there.
And then they're like, screw it. Just give him 20 touches in the second half.
Think about Montgomery last night. They're like, oh, he's hurt. No.
No, didn't happen. He just ran roughshod over those dudes. All right, JBC. Miami at Buffalo. Game of the week. It's a special one. Dolphins, 2.5-point dogs, 53.5 total. It's been interesting because the total really hasn't moved around too much. Dolphins getting some points in Buffalo. Are you back in the Bills or the Dolphins this week?
This is a fairly simple one. And this is honestly, you can almost treat it like a hard and fast rule. If a team wins by 30, 40, 50 points the week before, you fade them because they're overvalued. The Dolphins, no way, should be under a field goal in Buffalo. Bills all day.
Ooh, Stats, you're shaking your head. Yeah, you with JBC here?
Yeah, I mean, he basically said what I was going to say on you love to fade teams coming off monster wins. The problem is, Buffalo came off a pretty good win as well. They came off a monster win, so it sort of negates itself out. But I'll put a little bit more weight on having a historic win as Miami did, 70 points. Everyone's talking Miami. Everyone's down on Buffalo right now. Buffalo, what's wrong with Buffalo? Even though they just dominated last week. I think people. I think we're jumping. We might be jumping ahead a little bit much here on Miami. I think they come back down to life this week. Still love Miami as a team, but going into Buffalo, I think it's going to be a tall order. I like Buffalo in this one as well.
Interesting. Yeah, this should be a fun game. I don't think Miami's going to be able to run for quite enough yards. Oh boy, Richie Smalls. Listen, I'm out of being the guy you bring in to cuck you. Okay. I've got and I love you, Richie, but I got a serious relationship now. We're talking about marriage. I can't do the whole cuckold thing anymore. It's just, she's not down with that. Honest to God truth, guys. You weren't here the first 2 years of this place where
I sent her out of the room. He said,
Richie in the cuck chair. All righty then. Well, let's just move on to our third game. I was going to talk about the Dolphins running game, but why bother? We got Minnesota 4.5-point favorites on the road at Carolina. 46.5 is the total. So Bryce Young is back this week. I actually think this is not a good thing for the Carolina Panthers this week, JBC.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce hasn't shown us anything. As a Panther fan, yeah, I'm pretty objective, but we've looked like absolute shit. And Minnesota, honestly, 0-3 shouldn't be 0-3. The games have all been close. I really think the Vikings just come in there and they just score 35 or so and beat the shit out of us.
Wow. Stats. JBC saying there's going to be an ass whooping in Carolina. Are you confident in that?
I don't know how confident I am. I mean, they're clearly the better team, but they, 4.5. This line has moved, I think, based on the fact that
3.5
Young
to
is
4.
playing. Yeah, I think it's strictly on Young. I don't think they moved it enough last week. I thought we were still on the right side last week, even though we lost with Carolina. I think we had the right side of that game. They just couldn't stop them. And I don't think they moved it enough last week. And now they're sort of they realize that this was a bigger difference than they thought between Dalton and Young. So I don't think the 4.5 is enough points even there on the road. Minnesota 0-3. Now we were bearish on Minnesota coming into the year. Part of that was kind of regression to the mean. Last year they won every one of these games that they've lost so far this year. I can't see Carolina winning many games. I think Carolina is going to start pushing themselves with Young at quarterback. Will be one of the worst teams in the league all year. So I'll take Minnesota here. They're still a mid team. They'll be able to cover the 4.5.
All right. I think the most uncomfortable bet I'm ever going to make, if I pull the trigger on the Broncos -3 in Chicago, 46.5 total. Guys, let me talk to you about this secondary for the Bears, which already sucks. Josh Blackwell out, Eddie Jackson out, Jalen Johnson out, Tyreek Stevenson out. That is the 4 of their best cornerbacks are out of this game. JBC, you're shaking your head. I'm actually going to back the Broncos on the road as shitty as they looked last week. I think, yeah, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Russ is going to have any trouble scoring. Russ threw for 300 yards last week, even though they got their shit pushed in. I don't think that they're going to have any trouble scoring. The Bears, I mean, yeah, the Broncos defense, even though they gave up 70 points, Miami and the Bears, not the same thing. Again, when they lost by 50, you can't look too far into it. The Broncos are a much better team than Chicago. Broncos all day.
Oh, it actually looks like Tyreek Stevenson's going to play now. So only 3 of their best corners, which is one of the worst cornerback rooms in the world. Stats, can you stomach backing the Broncos on the road?
I had an old boss on the trading desk. He said sometimes the best trades you make are the toughest, are the ones that don't feel the best when you make them.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's kind of the situation here where I think you have to take Denver. It's the flip side of the other game, the Miami game. When you have that team that dominates, you like to fade them, and then that team that just gets destroyed the week prior, those are the teams you like to jump on the following week. Again, though, the problem is the Bears look pretty bad themselves last week. So you're kind of on the flip side of this one as well from the Minnesota game, from the Miami Buffalo game. But I did a show for a friend of mine a couple of days ago. It's Draftkings with the Draftkings salary, but it's a draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I took Russell Wilson and Mims in that draft. So I'm just expecting points here. Wilson's been fine from a fantasy standpoint. Like his numbers have been pretty good. The team's just been terrible. So I think he's been getting – what was that?
He's not the problem.
No, he's not the problem at all. Obviously, the defense, they've got some issues. So, on the flip side, I think we talked about this the other day, Holden. Like, if Justin Fields doesn't turn it around this week, I don't know when he will. And quite frankly, he's got to do it with his legs. I mean, he's not running the ball. They're not calling run plays for him. I just watched the whole breakdown of Fields and just how poorly he's reading the defenses. It looks like he's regressed. It's terrible. So if he runs the ball, that's his ticket to big DFS payday. But I think Wilson and crew have a big day against this defense who has absolutely nothing, is banged up. I like Denver too.
I was waiting till you guys were going to talk about it. And if you guys were both on the Broncos, I was going to hit it too. So that bet just went in. Broncos -3 on the road. Rand says Mims DFS. Yeah. They're going to expand his role. He is their most electric offensive player right now. That Javonte is still getting back into shape. JBC, this kid's he's so dynamic, so fast.
Right.
Yeah, he's great. He literally is. He's great. He was a great draft pick. They needed that too. Jerry Jeudy is nowhere to be found. I don't know if our guy Cortland Sutton's ever going to be good again. I mean, he's getting volume, but
he was good last week. Yeah,
not explosive. He's catching the ball. He's not doing much after he catches the ball. We've got Baltimore and the Ravens. I did bet the under in this one. Again, this might be my last under I ever bet this year, Stats, since you're telling me everything's going to go over. It was at 41. It dropped to 39.5. I do wonder if the under is still in play, even at 39.5. Ravens laying 1.5 on the road in this game. So this is a game where the Ravens, last week, they looked awful against the Colts. They allowed the Colts to stay in there. Yeah, they gave up, what was it, 4 field goals of over 50 yards, but the weather was bad. Lamar fumbled a few times. That being said, do you want to back the Ravens? Do you want to back the Browns? Do you like the over or under?
Well, the Browns are favored by 1.5, by the way. But
yeah, that's what the plus means for the Ravens. Yeah, yeah, the Ravens.
Favored.
Great point. Great point.
I like the Browns here, as I have every week this year. They're at home and they're laying less than a field goal, and they're a much better team. So pretty simple.
All right. Well, Watson's shoulder's bothering him a little bit.
That's the only concern. But Watson obviously is not the strength of the team to begin with. I don't think that they're going to have any trouble stopping the Ravens' offense. And they should be able to grind it out and win again.
What do you want to do here, Stats?
I took this one earlier in the week. I took Baltimore at the 3. It's now since obviously has moved down, so I feel good about that. One of the few times this year I've caught the right number. And the reason the total is moving down is because Sharps hit this. They hit 42.5 to the under, and it's continually gone down since. So I think the sharp side of the game is the under. We might have lost the value here at 39, but I do like Baltimore. I don't disagree that Cleveland might be the better team, but just from a technical standpoint, reading the lines and the way it's moving, I think I got the right side of it. So we'll see how it goes. But I don't think the difference between these two teams is that great. And potentially that injury, maybe the injury is worse than we think, and that's what's moving the line. We'll see.
I mean, good things for the Brown backers. At least he was out there practicing and throwing a little bit. Again, he says he's going to play. We'll see what the training staff says. I have a hard time thinking he's not going to play in this game. The question is he going to be limited or not? Did you guys see this story? Let me pull this thing up. This just came down, so you may not have seen it. NFLPA modifying their gambling policies, increase discipline on NFL games for gambling on NFL games. A violation is 1 year and 2 if a player bets on his own team. Game fixing results in banishment. No duh. But once again, this is a league that has completely embraced gambling. You shouldn't be allowed to bet on your own team. I completely agree with that. They probably shouldn't bet on their own teams. But the fact of the matter is this: the NFL is in bed with gambling. What did they expect was going to happen, right?
Ultimately, if you play in the league, you have some inside information in regard to even the other teams.
Okay.
And they have to come down really, really, really hard on it, or else it will give the image that the games are not on the up and up. And
like
because they're in bed with gambling and gambling drives so much for them in terms of their financial viability, they cannot have the image that the games are fixed or anything of the like at all. So they have to just crack down hard as fuck.
Back to the news real quick. Left tackle for the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley, is doubtful. He was out last week. The Colts got a lot of pressure on Lamar. Marlon Humphrey is out too, their cornerback. So those two pieces of news just dropped while we were talking about the game. My sense is that doesn't change either one of your opinions on this one. So we might as well move on to the next one. It is Pittsburgh and the Steelers. Total here is just 42.5. Houston's been playing some decent football so far this season. I think defensively they've been better than some of us thought. They are 3-point dogs at home. They're still missing 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen, but they've gotten away with it. JBC, Steelers -3 on the road, or Texans?
I like Houston a lot. Steelers have the worst offense in the league statistically. The last 2 games that they've won, they've shown me nothing. I've got no faith in them whatsoever. Houston, honestly, is probably the better team, and they're getting points at home. Houston.
Yeah, here we go. Here's another bet I'm going to finally fire on because I was going to listen to you guys talk about it. Stats. I've been on Houston a little bit this season. I don't know why I should jump off the train right now.
I mean, I like it too. You're getting points at home with Houston. I agree. I don't like the Pittsburgh offense, although I do think you've got some DFS value here on both sides of the ball in this game. I think they've established Pickens pretty much as their option. So I think Pickens at least will have some value fantasy wise. But I agree. Houston's a better team than I think we thought coming into the year. Offensively, Stroud's been great. He's got 2 weapons now that he could use on offense. And I'm a little surprised at the line. Now the line has come down. It's kind of it opened higher 4.5, come down to 3. So I agree with, if you can get the 3, I'd hate to get it at 2.5. If you get the 3, I think that's where you have to go. I think you have to lay some juice to get that 3. But I think it's worth it here.
Let me just look real quick. -15. -15 is not bad.
Yeah.
We'll take that. Why does Holden keep saying the city name versus
3 times in a row? You said Pittsburgh versus Steelers, Baltimore versus Ravens, Denver versus Broncos.
That's where I am right now, buddy. A lot going on.
It's Friday.
Reading the lines wrong, reading the teams wrong. All right, I'm going to try and do this time, okay? The Rams and the Colts. The Rams are 1-point dogs at Indy.
That could be any city, though. Like for the old timers, we could be getting the cities wrong when you say Rams.
Yeah, you could be talking about the St. Louis Rams.
Oh,
my dad still calls them Baltimore.
St. Louis and Baltimore, with the Rams getting a point on the road. 46 is the total. Oh no, Uncle T's here too. Yeah, Uncle T.
He's got a better memory than you.
Must be like Uncle T. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. That's enough. We'll just leave it at that. Do you like the Rams or the Colts? Richardson's back this week for Indianapolis.
I like the Rams. I've liked the Rams all year. I like the Rams in preseason. Colts coming off a big upset, probably overvalued. Having a different quarterback than when they just won that game at Baltimore. I think the Rams are the play here.
Ooh, I'm staying off this game. Stats, you got a play here?
I don't have a play, but I would lean towards Indianapolis. I like what I'm seeing out of Richardson. So if I had to lean on this game, it would be towards the Colts side of the ball. I've been impressed with the Rams as well. I think the Rams are a better team than we thought coming into the year, but so is Indianapolis. This is, and I think the quarterback's the main reason. So I'm going to stick with I'm going to stick with the guy that I've liked the last few weeks. Obviously getting hurt with the 2 touchdowns in week 2, but I don't know. I'm hoping the guy stays healthy because I've been super impressed with Richardson so far this year. I would lean towards that side of the game. I like the Colts.
So the next game, we've had some line movement. Last Sunday, the Commanders were 7-point dogs at Philly. This thing quickly got bet up to 7.5, 8. Then it was 8.5, 9. Then it went to 9.5 at some books, and it's settled in between 8.5 and 9 now, with the Eagles pretty heavy favorites at home. Total 43.5. So talk to me here, JBC. That's a big line, but boy, the Commanders stink.
So the Commanders, the first 2 weeks, they had those big comeback victories against Arizona and Denver. And in retrospect, that doesn't look nearly as good as it did at the time. And the Eagles did not look as well the first 2 weeks, and they looked like they were churning a little bit more this last week, especially on defense. I like the Eagles laying the 9. I think they're going to kill them.
Ooh, that's a big number to lay, but you make a great point here. Stats, you want to lay 8.5, 9 points with the Eagles at home?
I mean, I don't want to lay it. My model likes Washington, and I understand it. Understand why. So I would lean towards the Washington side here. The side that, or the total is actually, I think, interesting because we saw sharp money. This is very similar to what we talked about last week with Colorado, and it hit easy. Sharps came in on the over at 44.5, and it is now dropped. So that is a significant signal to me that the under is in play in this game. And if the under is in play, then I think the plus 8.5, I like that side, or plus 9, depending where you're going to get it. But so I like that even more. So I don't mind Washington at the 8.5, and I like the under in this game as well.
Last time these two teams played, it was November 14th of last year, 32-21 Commanders over the Eagles. Outside of that, you're not seeing a lot of good things happen there, is all I could say. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. The more you think about it, the Sam Howell's just a mess, and the Eagles are going to get pressure on him, right? They could have maybe a defensive special teams touchdown. I know you don't bet touchdowns, but that's definitely got to be in play this week. Next game is the Raiders and the Chargers. So the Raiders, there's news to get to before we talk about this game. Jimmy G, he has not cleared concussion protocol, but he's practicing, kind of like what we saw with Jalen Waddle this week. So I don't think he's definitely out of the mix at this point. The total is 48.5 to 49.5. So you can find different totals out there. 5.5 point favorites for the Chargers. Oh God, I never like laying 5.5 with Brandon Staley. It seems like every freaking game is 3 points. JBC, is there even a side to play here?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Chargers, especially on the higher total, because you get a lot more variance in the scoring. And I mean, the Raiders obviously can put the ball in the air and score the ball too, but the Chargers offense has been pretty good. You know, I don't think they're going to have much trouble. The Raiders defense is kind of mid. You know, the Chargers put up 31, 35 points in this game. I think they cover the 5, and I think they will.
Stats?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my least favorite games on the board. I don't like the uncertainty here. I would lean towards the Chargers. I think most of the public's leaning that way as well. If I had to go one side, that would be the side of the game. I don't love the total. I don't love the game. Yeah, it's in that in between zone too. You know, that 5. It's like that line could drop down to 4.5 in a blink. It could go right up to 6.5 just as quickly. I'm not touching it unless I see something. It's going to be near impossible that I'm going to touch this game by Sunday. But if something changes, if I see something on the line move, maybe. But I don't like any side of this game, really.
Yeah, the total was 48. Then the news about Garoppolo being in concussion protocol pushed it up to 51.5. And I do wonder if it just completely gets inflated here.
Well, the question is,
actually, it went back. It went from 51 to 48, I should say.
Right, and they're talking about maybe not playing Hoyer and playing
O'Connell. They're talking about playing O'Connell.
I mean, everything's going to have to do with Garoppolo. It comes down around that. Our next game, we only got 2 games left, boys. The Patriots at the Cowboys.
You forgot Cincinnati.
Huh?
You missed a game before the Raiders at Cincinnati.
I quit.
That's
the Bengals, Holden.
I mean, there's just too much shit
going on. Where the Bengals play. And Tennessee is the Oilers.
All right, so the Bengals and the Oilers. This game is not in Houston; it's in Tennessee. The Bengals are 2.5 point favorites, and the total is a low one at 41. You need to call me out if I'm screwing up. I mean, you know what? You know what, Uncle T? You're like herpes. You never go away. Never had it, but I hear a lot of bad things about it. You're right, Uncle T, though. It's been a rough go here over the last 7 or 8 minutes. Ever since I told our friend Richie that I couldn't cuck him anymore, the show just went downhill. So, yes, JBC.
You know, I like the Bengals here. Burrow obviously did not look that great last week, but they were able to work around it. Tennessee got their fucking ass kicked by the Browns. You know, the Bengals, I think that they figured out something a little bit last week, and I think that they're going to win this game.
Cincinnati, you backing the Bengals here? Stats?
Yeah, I don't know. My head tells me that the Bengals are the better team, and just by watching it, like they look like the better team. I agree. I like the step that they took last week. If I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves and reading the line moves, that gives me a different idea on this game. It tells me Tennessee, so I'm kind of torn. It looks like the sharper money's come in on the Tennessee side. So for me, that gives me a little bit of confusion. So I'm going to be off of this game completely. But just the eye test, to me, I like what Cincinnati did. And I think they're going to be able to throw the ball on Tennessee. Matter of fact, I know they're going to be able to throw the ball on Tennessee. Yeah. That's the thing about Tennessee. You could throw the ball on them. It's a double whammy, right? You can't run the ball on them. So no one tries to run the ball on them, but you can throw the ball on them. So everyone does try to throw the ball. So you'll see. I think Chase has a good day. I think Burrow has a good day. And it'll just be a matter of the Bengals holding the Tennessee offense down. So on paper, when I look at it, I do like Cincinnati, but I don't like how this line has moved. So I'm going to stay off of it.
As we tape this, more and more news is just coming out. Deshaun Watson, right shoulder contusion. So a bruised shoulder, probably doesn't feel great. I have a hard time thinking he's not going to go out there and play for a bruised shoulder.
That won't be a problem.
No, Bumpsta. It's been a rough go for your boy here, but I'm having fun. We're going to go. We got Sundays right around the corner. It's going to be a great time. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about what's going to happen this weekend. New England at Dallas. Now I can do that, right? Patriots +6, 43.5 total. I mean, what Cowboys are we getting, JBC? Are we getting the Cowboys from the first 2 weeks, or are we getting the one that took a shit last week?
Well, it makes you wonder how much Trevon Diggs matters. But you know, I've been on both these teams pretty much every game this year. You know, other than I didn't take the Dallas game last week, but you know, very bullish on both of them. But this seems like a lot of points for New England. I think they'll be able to control the ball a little bit more than we think they will. And I think we end up getting a close one at the end. So I'm backing the Patriots.
You going with the Patriots here? Stats?
I'm leaning towards the Patriots as well.
Wow.
It's the same logic I had when I got absolutely destroyed with the Jet game, right? But I think the New England offense is a little bit better than that Jet offense was. But this defense is pretty solid. It's not. I don't know if they're as good as the Jet defense, but this is one of the better defenses in the league. And I still don't trust the Dallas offense, despite how well they looked against the Jets. I still don't trust the Dallas offense against a strong defense. I think it's too many points. I think since Brady's left, I think you're getting a lot of value with the Patriots. More, I think the public is generally down on the Patriots. The public's going to jump back here, I believe, on Dallas and give them a break on last week's game. I don't know. I think Arizona's a little bit better than Arizona's definitely better than we thought. Not playoff better, but they're not the worst team in the league. But Dallas is certainly not as good as we thought they were either. I just think you're getting a little bit of value on New England, so I'll take that side of the game.
I think Dallas kind of cruised through that one. Everybody's blowing them, telling them they're the best team ever. They're going to win the Super Bowl. And then Arizona, they just laid an egg. And you know what? That kind of leads into our last NFL game. We're going to talk about Arizona at the Niners. Niners 14-point favorites, 44 total. And now Arizona, listen, the Niners saw what they did to Dallas. There's no way that this is a letdown spot for the Niners. Maybe the best team in football, JBC, but 14 points is a lot. They have been blowing teams out, though. I don't see too many health issues with them either. So Niners defense against Joshua Dobbs. Is this the end of Joshua Dobbs?
I actually like the over in this game. I don't think that the Niners are going to have any problem scoring. And, 14 is a lot to lay, but I don't – Arizona, look how many points they put up on Dallas. They've been able to move the ball on offense a little bit. I think both teams will be able to score in this game. And at 43 and a half, I think it's going to go over.
Brandon Ayuk should be back too. We don't know about Deebo Samuel, but Ayuk has been the number one target for Brock Purdy when he's been in there. Stats, what about the total? What about the side in this one?
Yeah, it's, JBC pretty much nailed what I was going to say here. So the total in this game was bet by the Sharps at 42. They came back and hit it again at 43 and a half. So they really like the over on this game. Still sitting there 43 and a half. So I would take that over. I hate these 2 touchdown type spreads. They're really difficult. Typically in a spread this high with a total at 43 and a half, if you like the over, you probably like San Francisco, which I'm okay with. But I really like the over more on this game. The over, I think, is the play for this one. I do agree. I don't think the San Francisco defense is nearly as good as it's been, and I think Arizona is capable of putting up enough points in the game. I think if Arizona gets to 14 points, this game goes over.
Yeah, this news just came down. Thanks, MN. Eckler doubtful. He was wearing a brace on his ankle today. I wonder how close he really is to coming back at all. But that doesn't matter to the line. Maybe no, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They've been scoring without him just fine.
Okay. If you guys got any questions, make sure you throw it in either the live show chat or the YouTube chat. We can get to some of your questions for the end of the show. We are going to move over to the college game, though. And we have a game in Corvallis tonight, 10th ranked Utah. The Utes at the Beavers of Oregon State, the 19th ranked team, totals 44. JBC, Utah's getting 4 on the road. Are they covering?
We still don't know if Cam Rising is playing tonight, but judging based on the line movement going from Oregon State lane 1 to Oregon State lane 4, that tends to tell me that Rising is probably going to sit, similar to last week UCLA line coming down. Utah covered that one. I think that maybe we're just overvaluing what Rising matters to them. He's a great player, but they've been doing just fine without him. 4 on such a low total. I think it's 44 off the top of my head. I think that this is a field goal game. 4 is too many points.
Stats, you dig into this one for tonight? You got some money?
Yeah, I think we lost the value. I think if you got it under the 3 where the sharp money came in, I think the Sharps realized that Rising wasn't going to play. I don't think, we'll see. I think he's literally a game time decision. But even if he plays, I don't know if he plays all that much tonight anyway. So the sharp money came in. They got it under the field goal. I think now that it's at the 4, to me, it's kind of a pass. I do like the under a bit, though, in this game. I think you got 2 defense. I think Oregon State's going to have to run the ball in this matchup. You could see a very similar game to what they had against UCLA last week, and I think the under might be the right side here.
You really excited about this game tonight, JBC? I mean, you had 2 ranked teams Friday night. What else are you doing?
I mean, I'm not excited because it's going to be like a fucking rock fight, but it's football.
I like a good rock fight.
I mean,
what does JBC do on a Friday? Like, when do you take your lady out?
Man, as John will tell you, we go off Sunday nights, baby.
Sunday nights. Take her to a nice meal or McDonald's or what?
Yeah, I mean, it mostly to go out drinking, but shit, but she's like master chef. So, whenever we want a nice meal, we eat at home, but
she's really a master chef. Like she's a chef.
Very good. Yeah, she's very good.
Oh, that's a good reason to get married. Stats. What is Stats?
I text his wife back and forth with like recipes and stuff. So I'm like,
you really?
We do. Yeah.
What's the latest recipe you sent his wife?
Well, I did send her a gluten-free bread recipe. So yeah, I know. Listen, I have to eat gluten-free, and she did try it. She made it
non-celiac, Holden.
Yeah.
How do you know you're not that you're allergic to gluten? Like, how
I have
do you
celiac.
know?
Yeah, I have celiac.
It's a disease.
Yeah, it's a disease. I mean, if you want to make fun of a disease, go right ahead. But
make fun of celiac.
It's 2023. I would think you'd be a little bit more sensitive to.
Let me look it up. I'm not sure exactly what celiac is.
That means you're allergic to gluten.
I don't know what it is either, other than I can't eat gluten.
Like, well, the thing about everybody not eating gluten is that people with celiac, like John, now have options in stores.
Oh yeah, it's great
because of that. So it helps out people that actually.
My mother's had it. Like my mother's been off gluten since like 1990, when no one knew what the hell gluten was. So, yeah.
Hold on, she literally knew what gluten was 30-something years ago.
She was diagnosed with it. She was really sick. Yeah, she got really sick. They put her. There was no test for it, and they basically take you off of everything and then reintroduce it. And when they reintroduce wheat, she got super sick. They're like, okay, that's what it is.
So when you go out on a date with a fine lady, right? Do you have to ask for a gluten-free menu?
No. You could pretty much pick it off. Like you know what on the menus.
Oh, he asked though. Don't let him bullshit.
Yeah, it's like bread.
It's bread. I hate it.
We'll go to like a bar with bar food, and he'll ask for gluten-free, and they'll look at him like he's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's the worst. It's the worst. But like if I go out, I could eat it in small doses. It's actually, if you want to get into it, soy is actually worse for me, which is in like everything. So when I go out to eat, it sucks because then I'll have like stomach pains that night. But soy is worse. So yeah, when I eat at home, I feel great. But going out kind of sucks. And I hate telling the waiter or server or whatever, like, oh, don't use.
Yeah, because they all think you're a fucking piece of shit.
I'm extremely nice when I ask. And first of all, if there's any servers on here, please back me up. Like they get worse offers. Like all I do is they ask they usually ask, they're like, do you have any dietary issue? And I'll just tell them gluten. And they're like, oh, no problem. We'll take care of that. And then they get pissed in the back, I'm sure. And
what happens if you OD on gluten?
What's that?
What happens if you OD on gluten?
Nothing. It causes inflammation.
For a day.
So you just have to poop. That's it.
No, what happens is it causes inflammation. And then the whole reason people have to wind up like they're shitting on that is because they actually never get rid of all. I mean, if you really want to get technical, your intestines get inflamed.
Okay.
So you never release everything. So when I'm eating healthy, it's one time a day. I'm perfect. I feel nice and like I'm totally cleaned out. But yeah, when you're on gluten, it's like you're shitting 5 times trying to get it all out during the course of the day.
It's not as bad as when I go to Italian places and I have to tell them I'm allergic to capers. They're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? We have capers and everything."
Yeah, well, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
What did I do, we the people? I don't know. I just I wanted to know what this whole celiac thing is. I'm not familiar with celiac. I do know that soy gives you boobs. Men should not eat soy.
I cut all soy out.
Don't eat that.
Soy makes me sick too, so it's
awful. And it's in everything. So I
cut
out all
processed food. Everything. Yeah, it's in everything. It's hard to avoid soy.
Are they saying you have a hairpiece? That is not a hairpiece, Vinny Cano.
Oh, no. Yeah, not at all.
No. Yeah, nobody has a hairpiece. Nobody has an hair. Are you a comb guy too, Stats?
No, I haven't owned a comb in my life.
Wait, this is the fucking,
I just do
this.
That's it. That's what I do. But boom, I don't want no comb. I don't want no brush. Just boom.
No, it takes me 2 minutes. I mean, if you can't tell, but I've had buddies now they all lost their hair, but I mean literally an hour and they barely had any hair and they would move every piece of hair into the right place. An hour to get ready.
I'm just imagining you like Pauly D going out to the club.
Oh, well, back in the day, yeah, back in the day.
Really?
It was, man.
So you just like take globs of shit, put it in your hair.
No. You don't want to put too much.
I know.
Just a little bit. You got to put a little bit. Like a between a dime and a quarter size. That's it. You don't.
No, he said no. His piece, like his piece.
What piece? Oh, Oh yeah, no, that won't shoot off.
I don't even know what he's talking about, but that's fine. I'm just gonna go with the hairpiece one.
Talking about the weapon that God gave me.
Nope, don't know what you're talking about. Stats. Not sure what you're talking about, buddy. Just stay away from the soy. That's the only thing I could tell you guys.
Yeah,
so
soy sucks.
So let's go here. 8th ranked USC at Colorado. You guys faded Colorado last week. It worked out. Trojans 21.5 point favorites here in Colorado. 72.5 total. LeBron's going to be at the game tomorrow. Jay-Z's going to be at the game tomorrow. Lil Wayne does nothing but go to games anymore. Buffs 42-6 losers at the hands of Oregon last week. Their run defense is non-existent. USC's averaging 7 yards per carry. This might not be. And here, Shiloh Sanders, he had that kidney laceration. He might not play again. Hunter's still out. This could be a problem. So I'm looking forward to your breakdown here, JBC.
So the line opened at a number that was not tenable. It was, 27, 28, whatever the fuck it was. Now it's down to 21.5, 22. I like USC at the lower number. 28 was too many. I get that, but Colorado just, as we talk about it every fucking week, the attrition's getting to them. They're getting guys hurt. Their backups are fucking terrible. I don't see USC punting at all in this game. Colorado may be able to score a little bit, but ultimately, if USC scores 49-56, they're going to cover.
How many more games do the Buffs win? Do they get 2 or 3 more wins?
Well, they've got these were their 2 hardest games. I think they'll look better afterward.
Okay. We've got little USC. You backing them too? Stats?
If I had to take one side of it, I would take USC, but I like the over for basically everything that JBC just said. I mean, some people are talking about the early start. This game's at noon for a West Coast team. So it's 9 a.m. their time, but I don't think that's going to affect them all that much. A lot of people are talking about that as an angle. I'm not worried about
10
that.
10 a.m. here, Stats.
They get up at 5 a.m. to work out every day.
That's exactly my point. Like, if you were ever a collegiate athlete, like those kids are up at crazy hours of the morning. So I don't think that's going to affect them one bit. But what's going to affect them, Travis Hunter's still not playing. They got those injuries. The USC is an average defense too. So I think they'll be able to put points up. I just don't think they'll ever like he said, I don't know if they'll punt once. Like they're not going to ever stop the USC offense. So I feel good about the over. And the USC game total over, they've actually hit 12 of 14 to the over on their game total. So I think that trend continues and we see an over in this one.
First of all, Boulder is 1 hour ahead of LA. So it's not really that big of a difference.
No, but they're playing they're playing 10 a.m. in
10
Boulder.
a.m. Boulder time.
Yeah, I know. So it's like 10 a.m. here.
Oh, yeah. When you compare it for both teams, but everyone's
it's 1 hour. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Second thing is waking up early. Dude, I got to take my daughter to a freaking swim meet at 6:15 a.m. tomorrow. Think about that for a second. Think about that.
Never nut inside.
It's the best place. So listen, you sacrifice things as a parent, but I will say swim season's rough, man. Soccer's a lot better because it ends in 1 hour. You're done. They never do a 7 a.m. Soccer game. It's just awful. The whole swimming thing. If you're a new parent,
if she was a hockey player or figure skater, it'd probably be even worse. Like some of those.
Really?
Times. Yeah. I mean, depending on where you live, ice time.
Look at Uncle T. Look at Uncle T. Doing a little.
Well, yeah, it's the only thing I do well, Uncle T. I mean, all right, next. Georgia Auburn, guys, I have been to this game. It was in Auburn. I was 13 years old and there was riots going on and the police opened up the fire hydrants and they blew us back with gigantic. That was pain. just getting smashed with flowing water when you're 100, or not even 100 pounds. Anyways, Georgia's top 10 ranked team in the nation, 4-0 overall, 1-0 in the SEC. Auburn 3-1, 0-1 in the SEC. Georgia 14-point favorites on the road, 45.5 total. There'll be a lot of UGA fans there too. Auburn had to play 3 QBs last week. What the hell is going on there? We know it's Carson Beck's first road start, but what's going on with the Auburn QB situation?
Got no fucking idea. They just seem like they have no idea what they're doing. But, on a 45 total, Georgia really has not shown me enough on offense to make me think they're going to cover 14.5 on the road again in a rivalry game on that low of a total. Auburn's only going to have to score 14, 17, maybe even only 10 points to cover this game. I like Auburn with the points.
You taking Auburn in the points stats? You like the total? You like a side?
I like Auburn in the points also. I think at quarterback, they're going to go back to Thorne and then Ashford come in as like a change of pace. They'll go back to what they did in the first week this year. Auburn's offensive line got demolished by A&M, but coming off of that game, I think you get some value because UGA is like, they're the last team. I think they're last in the SEC in sacks, one of the worst teams in the country, and getting pressure on the quarterback, which is unlike them. And I think Auburn's defense will keep them in the game. This game is going to be close enough. Like JBC said, I don't think they have to score all that much in order to cover this line. I think the game stays low scoring. The lines move towards the under. 14 is just too many points at home. Beck first road. So it's a tough place to make your first road start in. So I'll take the 14 points.
Also, he sucks. Carson Beck, he sucks.
He
sucks. He's bad at football.
Okay. Who was really bad at football for a long time was my Kansas Jayhawks, my alma mater. They're 24th ranked team in the nation. They're probably not going to be ranked after this week. They are in Texas and Austin, 3rd ranked team in the nation. 2 years ago, Kansas shocking everybody beating Texas. And last year, Texas just laid the hammer. Quinn Ewers, 9 TDs, no picks. I got my guy, Jaylon Daniels, probably been the best quarterback, most productive, at least in the Big 12 so far this season. Jayhawks have gone over 30 points in each of their 4 outings. Do they do that this week, JBC? Do they cover? Do they get the total going? What do we got here?
I don't know if they'll put up 30, but I certainly like them with the 16. Texas, I think, is overvalued after beating Alabama. Alabama has looked like shit in a lot of their games this year, and Texas is kind of riding that reputationally as far as I can tell. And over 2 touchdowns, way too many for how well Kansas has been playing. 16 points, take the 16.
Stats?
I'm on the same side. Kansas, we talked about how good this offense is. They're top 15 in the power conferences, yards per play. Now, the Texas defense is probably the best defense that they've faced. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But on the flip side, this is the best offense that I think Texas is going to probably faces all year. So I think the 16 and a half is going to be too many points for them. I like Kansas as well.
Okay. Thank you for doing my job, Mitch. That would be Schneider and his soldiers. Would love for you to hit the like button. We were going to have a promo creamsicle 17 for Uncle T, as he looked like JT said he looked like a creamsicle on the old guys pod. And we almost had creamsicle 17, but we haven't decided what it's going to be yet. So maybe next week we'll have a promo code. We would love for you to hit the like button. This is our new bets team over here, JBC Stats. We've got a few other guys as they continue to roll. Tons of plays, every single sport, NFL, college football, baseball. Every time I look in there, there's soccer winners, it seems like. So bet side, you can get in on the bet side. Obviously, the DFS side, it's been our bread and butter. We are expanding the bet side, though. And then the DFS side, give me a break. We added JBC to the team. It's been very profitable. Let's just put it that way. And we still got our big guns. Big T hit this week. JSU hit this week. AP, all our boys. Absolutely love our team here. Continue to back up our team. And I'll put them up against anybody in this business. No question. LSU, Ole Miss, 13th ranked Tigers, 20th ranked Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. LSU minus 2.5, 67.5 total. Ole Miss coming off that loss to Alabama. Kiffin's, every week we talk about this. He still doesn't have a signature win, does he? No, he just can't beat a Power 5 team that's won at least 9 games the season before. Ole Miss 85th in the country against the pass. LSU 9th ranked passing attack. Does this mean LSU wins on the road?
I'm not sure. I'm not really a big fan of the side in this game. I think that this game is pretty coin flippy. If anything, I would lean toward Mississippi, but The over, I mean, it's been bet up from 63 to 67.5, and with good reason. I don't see any defense being played here. We're looking at a 42 to 35 type game. I think it's going to go over.
So you still like the over here. Stats, you're shaking your head up and down, which means
yeah. It's funny because I don't like this. I have an Ole Miss lean, but I love the over on this one. I mean, if you like big plays, that's what you're going to see this week. I mean, both of these teams are tied for 6th in the country in plays of 25 yards or more, and then both teams can't stop anyone from big plays. So I mean, it's like fireworks should happen in this game, and big plays lead obviously to big points. They're not going to be long, drawn out drives. I think you're going to see a lot of points in this game. Plus LSU, 5th in the country on third down conversions, but one of the worst teams in the country in stopping teams on third down. So I don't see how this game stays under. I see a lot of points for this one.
All right. Once again, if you're a subscriber, you want to get in the live show chat, you can ask us questions. We'll get there. Everybody in the YouTube chat, you want to ask us a question, we can do that there because we're coming down to our final game on the show. And that'll be the 11th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish at Duke. Duke is 17th ranked. They're 4-0 so far this season. 52.5 total. Notre Dame 5.5 point favorites on the road. We got 2 good quarterbacks here. Riley Leonard, of course, and Sam Hartman. So rough loss for the Irish last week, right? Against Ohio State. That was a bad one. Do they bounce back this week, JBC?
They, even though they lost, they showed me a lot. Notre Dame looked great on defense against Ohio State. They probably should have won the game. I thought they were going to be worse than they were. And, I think Duke is a little overrated based on how they performed so far this season. I'm not sure any other team in the country in terms of, a power ranking has improved as much as Duke has from the start to right now. And I think they're a little overvalued here. I like Notre Dame laying the points.
Notre Dame, go out to North Carolina and win this game. Stats?
I'm iffy on the side, but I do like the total a little bit. I like this game to go under. I like both defenses in this game. I mean, you got 2 of the better defenses in the country. As far as the side goes, Notre Dame's on a 29-game win streak against the ACC, which is remarkable. And
Hartman's played Duke 8 times already.
He has, yeah, Wake. So he's got 14 touchdowns, no picks this year. Obviously, he's playing great. But 52.5, I think the under, I think, this game actually moved towards the over early, and then the recent line move is going to be coming back down. So I like that move. I like the under, and so I'll take it under 52.5.
Okay, let's get to our best bets, and then we'll get at it. Duke is worse than
John. Is this your brother posting this shit?
Oh, it's it. Yeah, that's my brother. Yeah.
Fuck you, Sal.
What's your brother do, Stats?
He sits home and watches and does his fantasy football, baseball stuff.
What'd you say, mafia?
Don't you know him? He's Italian and from New York. They're all in the mafia.
That's just simply not true.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not true. Not all of them. Just most of them. It's most of them.
Just most of them.
Is he older or younger, Stats? He's got to be younger.
He's younger. Yeah. I'm the oldest one.
So how many brothers and sisters you got? We got to learn more about these guys. How many brothers and sisters
I've got a younger brother, younger sister.
Oh, so you're the old one. How about you, JBC? Did your parents spawn any others?
I have an older brother that's no longer with us, and I have a much older sister.
So glad I asked the question. That's not uncomfortable. Anyways, but so you got an older sister, and Stats has got Stats is the old guy, huh?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
I only got one sister though. My parents after me. I think she was a mistake too, because they're like, they wanted to stop at me, but I don't think they told her that, and she doesn't watch the show, so I'm not worried about it. Best bets, boys. JBC, what is our best bet? College or pro?
Oh, I thought we were gonna do one of each. Oh shit!
Fine, do one of each.
Best bet pro. Denver.
Okay.
Smash time. Mm-hmm. Best bet college. Notre Dame.
Stats.
All right, I'm looking. I gotta remember to be prepared.
Right,
I'm gonna take
your time. I'll
Arizona
bullshit for a second. You can pull it up. I have no.
I got to go back and look at all the games, but I'm gonna take that Arizona game over in the NFL.
Okay.
As my best play, and I could always give you a game off the that we didn't do. Right?
Sure.
I'm going to take East Carolina plus 3.5. I like that one.
It's Pirates, right?
It is the Pirates.
Yeah. Pirate action.
You would pick the purple team.
I think they're playing a purple team.
What do you guys think of Pirates?
Rice is Navy.
Yeah. It's sort of purple.
Rice.
I guess TCU.
JT Daniels.
I guess TCU's purple. TCU's more purple. Is TCU purple?
TCU's purple.
Yeah. Thoughts on Pirates, guys? Just in general, JBC. You like Pirates?
Well, John lives in Tampa, and if you are familiar with Tampa, Gasparilla's there. And honestly, this year, the Royal Rumble is in Tampa at the end of January, and we're going to come down there right at the beginning of Gasparilla and dress up as pirates and go to WWE.
I think that's great. Did you know you're going to do that, Stats?
I still don't know that I'm doing that. I will not be dressed up like a pirate. That is definitely for sure.
Why not?
It's definitely not happening.
Listen, I bet you would get pussy if you did. I bet you would get pussy if you did.
I'm sure it's not worth it. But we went on a cruise. You want to tell them about the wrestling cruise?
Oh, we did go on a wrestling cruise. That was amazing. We got to meet a lot of wrestlers. John was playing blackjack and having to tell Jake the Snake Roberts how to play because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
What?
He was
Jake the Snake was one of the worst blackjack
players awful, and John was like having to show him at when to double down. It was brutal.
Really?
He was getting his ass handed to him and disgruntled and bitter and just he was not happy.
I'm a little disappointed that you're not going to dress like a pirate. I went on a pirate ship cruise for like 2 hours with my kids and my lady and my parents. It was the most remarkable experience. By the time I came back, I had a bandana and a fake sword. It was great.
Holden, you should come. You should come.
I mean, get me out of my house is tough, but if I was going to go somewhere, I would dress like a pirate.
It's like Mardi Gras with pirates.
Are you going to have an eye patch? Because it's going to be tough to watch wrestling with one eye.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'll take it off while the show's going.
Yeah. All apologies to our Cyclops viewers. I didn't mean to make fun of you or make you feel bad. My best bet, listen, I don't have much college football acumen, but I think I know the NFL. Houston +3 will be the play. So that'll be mine. And we'll move on from there. Stats, Uncle T wants you on the Old Guys pod next week. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really fit in with the bunch of old guys, but
you're older than all of us.
But no, absolutely.
I got gray hair. I got gray hair.
Hey, you got more gray hair than me, pal.
Old Guys pod featuring young.
I don't know, Stats. I don't know if anyone would like dye just down the middle, but to me.
It's real. He's looked that way forever.
It's just the lighting.
Well, what do you mean it's the lighting? So if there's brighter lighting, it's not as dark?
It's way more gray up top. You know what happens is when you put the product in, it makes it dark.
His hair is really not that gray, though. It's not. He's lucky. I don't know. It's some weird like mafia magic.
I mean, just the stereotype Stats.
You know what it's like? Yeah, well, listen, do you think I listened to him? But you remember Paulie Walnuts from
yeah.
So Paulie Walnuts, he had that streak.
I was going to say that to you, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. You do look like him.
I used to see Paulie Walnuts all the time because he lived right by me in Brooklyn.
Probably because you're fucking related.
No, not related.
You're all related.
A lot of the guys from The Sopranos you would see in Bay Ridge and in Brooklyn, but Paulie Walnuts lived like by me. If anyone's familiar with Brooklyn, like on 18th Avenue, I'd see him shopping all the time. All those guys were like the nicest guys in the world. Paulie Walnuts, legit. I never said a word to him, and he legit looked like he would just kill you right there in the street. All the other guys were great, like with that Steve, whatever his name is, the big heavy guy. Always nice. Would see him at the bar all the time. Bunch of those guys, but Paulie Walnuts, I never said a word to. And he was a legit mobster.
I cut my hair myself, Sal. Fuck you.
Wait, hold on. My brother has the same exact haircut, and he does it himself too.
He does it himself. Yeah. You can't go to a barber for that. Just shave it off. Yeah. It's easy. All right. That's enough. Wonderful stuff here. Appreciate it. Tell your friends about it. Hit the like button on the way out. Appreciate everybody watching. For JBC and Stats, I'm Holden. Keep running pure.